Welcome back to the Revolve Kitchen, where we make good food the right way. Today's a fun one because it's a highly requested Thanksgiving edition. If you want to make your Thanksgiving more delicious, more nutritious, and a lot less stressful, then you're in the right place. I'm going to walk you through my 5 simple, delicious, unique Thanksgiving recipes for popular side dishes and desserts. We'll make some bacon-wrapped dates, a creamy winter squash mash, a seasonal veggie casserole, my personal favorite, a nose-to-tail stuffing, and finally, a pumpkin pie custard. So instead of leaving your Thanksgiving meal feeling sick, bloated, overfull, tired, you're gonna feel satiated, energized, and amazing. And the best part is that all these recipes can be made with 10 ingredients or less. Because let me tell you, if I have to spend one more Thanksgiving with 5 trips to the grocery store and waking up at the crack of dawn to whip up complicated recipes, I will not be okay. And while I don't necessarily love to celebrate the history behind Thanksgiving, it's a great time to come together with friends and family, enjoy good food, and celebrate the beautiful harvest of the fall foods, and of course, honor the original stewards of our land. Now let's get right into it with one of the easiest but most decadent appetizers that your guests will love: bacon-wrapped goat cheese stuffed dates. This recipe makes 12 servings, and you'll need 6 dates, 6 slices of bacon cut in half, and about 3 ounces of goat cheese. Start by preheating your oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit, then cut each date in half lengthwise. I like to do this because it can be a lot to eat a whole date in one bite. Remove the pit if there is one, and then stuff the cavity of each half date with goat cheese, about 1 teaspoon each. Then wrap it with bacon. Place them seam side down on a baking sheet and bake until the bacon is crispy, about 20 minutes. If you're not using a rack, flip them halfway through so that each side gets nice and brown. And that's it. You just need 3 ingredients and a few minutes of effort to make the most delicious, nutrient-dense appetizer. Next, let's make an equally delicious and simple side dish, a winter squash mash. I love this recipe because it's so simple, it tastes really good, and you can even make it the day before to free up your time on your Thanksgiving day. This recipe makes enough for about 4 to 5 people, so adjust as needed. But all you need is 2 medium-sized squash. I used an acorn squash and a butternut squash, 4 garlic cloves, a tablespoon of ghee and a tablespoon of butter, or just use all ghee, sea salt, and a teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice, or just cinnamon. Start by preheating the oven to 325 degrees Fahrenheit, and in a small oven-safe dish, add the ghee and the butter. Place that in the oven while it preheats so that it'll melt. Meanwhile, cut your squash of choice, then remove the seeds and the pulp, and season that with extra virgin olive oil and salt. Place those face down on a baking tray, and once the butter and ghee is melted, add the garlic cloves to that dish, making sure they're mostly submerged. We're going to add all of this to the oven for about an hour, so while the squash roasts, the garlic will be getting nice and soft and flavoring the fat. After about an hour, once the squash is soft and the garlic is nice and softened, remove from the oven and let it cool until easy to handle. Scoop the flesh of the squash into a bowl and pour in the butter, ghee, and garlic mixture. Mash that together until it's fully incorporated and the garlic is evenly dispersed. Season with a teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice and sea salt to taste. There you have it, one of the easiest and most delicious and also nutrient-dense side dishes to serve with your Thanksgiving meal. Okay, next up, a delicious veggie side dish, a broccoli and cauliflower casserole. A lot of people requested green bean casserole, but as I was walking around the farmer's market, I noticed green beans aren't really in season right now. So I made a simple swap to a vegetable that's available seasonally and locally to me. But if you want to use green beans in this recipe, that works too. To make this casserole, you'll start by blanching the cauliflower and broccoli, bring a very large pot of water to a boil, and season generously with salt. Place the florets in the water and cook just until tender, but still crisp, about 4 to 5 minutes. While it's cooking, prepare an ice bath. Then you're going to drain the veggies and add them to the ice bath to stop the cooking. Then drain and pat them dry on a kitchen towel and set them aside. Meanwhile, heat 1 tablespoon of butter in a large oven-safe dish over medium heat. Add the onion, garlic, and mushrooms. Cook, stirring frequently for about 15 minutes until the onions are soft and golden and the mushrooms have cooked down and released their liquid. Add in another tablespoon of butter. You can never have enough butter. Sprinkle the flour over top, stir it together, and cook for a few more minutes until no white bits remain. Slowly add in the bone broth, stirring constantly to prevent any lumps from forming. Then stir in the cream, and we're going to increase the heat to medium-high. Stir in the salt and the pepper and the nutmeg, and cook that and stir it, allowing the sauce to bubble and reduce until it thickens and resembles a creamy gravy, about 8 to 10 minutes. Remove that from the heat and stir in 3/4 of a cup of the Parmesan cheese. Then we're going to add the broccoli and the cauliflower to the dish and stir until everything is well incorporated. Finally, sprinkle the remaining cheese over top and broil until the casserole is bubbling and beginning to brown on top, about 1 to 3 minutes, but keep an eye on it. While it broils, I like to fry some shallots in a saucepan with tallow until they're brown and crispy, which takes about 5 minutes. These are the perfect garnish, but definitely optional. Finally, let the dish stand for 10 minutes before you serve, and garnish it with fresh parsley and fried shallots. Now, onto a Thanksgiving classic, stuffing. Technically dressing because it's not going inside the turkey, but who cares? You know what I'm saying. Stuffing was my all-time favorite dish until I realized that bread and grains were a huge problem for my digestive issues. But now that I've healed my gut, a good quality stuffing with some sourdough is a great addition to my spread, especially when I add in some protein, and I even hid some liver in there for extra nutrients. I use a gluten-free sourdough, but if you can tolerate gluten, a good quality sourdough from your local bakery or homemade is a great option. All right, let's make it. If you have a loaf of stale bread, that's great. If you have a fresh loaf, chop it into cubes and bake it at 300 degrees for about 7 minutes or until it's nice and dry like a crouton. Remove that from the oven and increase the temperature to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Put the bread to the side and we're going to start with browning the sausage over high heat. I like to do it in 2 batches to make sure it gets nice and caramelized. And once that's fully cooked, stir in the liver and cook for 1 more minute. Then set that aside in a large bowl. In the same pan, add 3 tablespoons of your fat of choice. I did a mixture of tallow and ghee. Then stir in the veggies, onion, garlic, celery, and fresh sage. Cook that over medium heat, stirring until it's nice and soft, about 10 minutes. Now add that to the bowl with the sausage. And then you're going to stir in the bread, add in the broth, egg, and parsley mixture, and stir that until it's fully combined. Then bake in an oven-safe dish for 30 minutes until it's brown on top and warm in the middle. There you have one of the most nutrient-dense stuffing recipes you'll probably ever find, and it's super easy. Top it with some fresh parsley and serve it up. Finally, we've made it to everyone's favorite part of the night, dessert. I love to serve this pumpkin custard because they're single servings. They're super nutrient dense, they're very easy to make, it just takes 5 minutes of effort and a blender. And they're even better after spending the night in the fridge, so they're the perfect make-ahead dessert. You're going to start by preheating your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and to a blender we're going to add 1 can of pumpkin puree, 2 whole eggs and 2 egg yolks, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 2 teaspoons of pumpkin pie spice, 2 tablespoons of raw honey or maple syrup, add some more if you like things on the sweeter side, and a pinch of sea salt. If you want to add some more nutrients, you can add 4 servings of collagen powder. You're going to blend this all together until it's smooth, then stir in the heavy cream. Divide the liquid evenly into small ramekins or mason jars. Place the ramekins onto a baking sheet and add boiling water around the ramekins, and cook that at 350 degrees for about 35 minutes or until the custard is slightly jiggly but set, kind of like Jell-O. Let the custard sit on the counter and then throw it in the fridge to fully set for at least 5 hours. I like to serve it with a dollop of whipped cream. I hope you have the best Thanksgiving meal ever. Let me know how you enjoy these recipes, and make sure you're subscribed so you never miss a nutrient-dense recipe or cooking tutorial. See you next time!